And now we pause. It's Tuesday, the 25th day of this war, 24th of March. Welcome to the Board Bunker. Please like, share, and subscribe if you think my missives are anywhere useful to you or your life or to your understanding of what's happening in the world. This is just a quick situation report on what I'm noticing in the various feeds and stuff that I use because I'm a geek and I pay attention to this stuff. I call this today, and now we're in pause because I don't think we're going to see a lot of major movement in the war unless something either really, really good happens, like the Americans and the Israelis take an off ramp and try to wind this chaos down, or things get much worse by the weekend. We got a reprieve from the nuclear threats and the escalation threats over the weekend. Trump did a Taco Monday, which I'm absolutely happy with. But part of me wants to see that the U.S. and Israeli are essentially tweaking out methods. Part of me sees this as simple, pure 151 distilled proof stupid. But another part of me sees people applying lessons of the past to the current situation and expecting the enemy to be so kind as to allow you to get your way while you build up your force structure after you started the war. It's not the best way to do things. So I talked about the talk of yesterday, and that is a good thing because that walked us a little bit back from the ledge. But I'm wondering whether it was necessarily just the pump and dump, which is as common to Trump as breathing and eating and living, but he has never committed forces to a theater which he has not used them in. He doesn't believe in force for threat. He always follows through. That is a common thread, and we've seen this all the way through from Venezuela on. So I think what right now, we're kind of in an interregnum. We're in a pause period here while forces get regenerated and things get put back together. So what do I see in the week ahead? Okay, first, brush up on your Persian Gulf geography, because geography is always the dictator of how humans deal with military issues and all conflict. We've got Kark and Kek Island, the shark-shaped island. Those have been under threat and under bombardment and everything. The island in the Strait of Hormuz that controls the northern gate to Iran and the Iranian passageway that all the transport is now coming out of the Gulf through. Kark Island, of course, is the oil terminal way up in the north end. That's not going to be hit by the Marines. If they do anything, that's going to be hit by the special forces, in which we're now seeing that a lot of special forces are being committed to the Gulf region. Special forces, Marines, elements of the 82nd Airborne, the 621st Response Wing. They're airport engineering officers and crew who are tasked with basically rebuilding and turning a destroyed airstrip back into a functional air base. So they are going to be en route in order to set up whatever islands that are captured in order to conduct operations. There are a lot of C-17 heavy airlift coming out of the United States now from a variety of places throughout the United States. I think there are about 35 currently en route. I could be wrong on that. But anyways, the Rangers and SEALs are en route and inbound to the theater. So my thought is that based on the workups that we're seeing now, there's a good chance that this is going to kick off on the weekend or over the weekend. We're already seeing shaping operations in many of the Gulf and Western Islands and the coastal littoral regions where the Americans, and a shaping operation for anybody who doesn't do this stuff geeky. A shaping operation is basically where you prepare the battle space. You find out, you identify all the targets you can possibly hit in advance. Yeah, kill it. You destroy whatever you can. You try to leave alone the infrastructure that you're going to need once you get people on the ground. But the goal is to deplete the enemy's ability to interfere with you when you land. To this, as far as amphibious or this sort of littoral warfare goes, it's very easy to take an island. It's very, very hard, especially if it's close on a hostile coast, to keep and hold the island. Anybody who is in these islands, anybody who lands there in any of these Gulf islands or these regions of conflict, American or Gulf state or whoever is involved in this, are going to be walking through a literal minefield hunted by first-person viewer drones that are only 18 nautical miles away. You can actually operate drones at that distance, as we've seen in Ukraine, with fiber optic guided first-person viewer hunter-killer drones that can actually hunt individual soldiers. This is not going to be a pleasant operation. Kark is going to be a death trap, I think, because of that. The U.S. has ensured that eyes are on it, so that might be used as a strategic deception while they hit somewhere else. But I'm fairly confident they're probably going to do at least a limited operation on it, but it's not going to be the USMC that takes that out. If anybody does it, it's probably going to be Rangers or some sort of heli-transported troop unit. It is far enough away from Kuwait that you can do it with helicopters, but that's going to be difficult to maintain and to resupply once people are on the ground. It's very easy to get troops into an island. It's very hard to maintain them and keep their logistics supply up. And if you keep them in the battle space for long enough, you run into an increasing level of problems. Lavon, Kish, Karem Islands. I see the U.S. targeting them right now while they're securing the inner Gulf oil transfer stations. I think that the USMC Tripoli Task Force that's almost there is going to be used to deal with some of the outer islands and things outside of the Strait of Hormuz, transfer points, any sort of logistics points, basically building the infrastructure or the hub bases that they need in order to conduct further operations inland. My big hunch is that the United States is going to hit a lot of small places basically at the same time. They're going to go for maximum operational or tactical surprise. They don't have strategic surprise because everybody knows that they're coming and everybody knows that there's war on. So what you try to do is you try to minimize the amount of information that the enemy can determine and dictate about your intentions, and you work around their intentions. I mean, that's as old as warfare, but that's essentially what we're seeing right now. We will see. This is going to be an interesting week. I said, this is just my thoughts as I'm looking at the situation as it unfolds. So I could be completely wrong, and I hope I am completely wrong. The best case scenario is U.S. and Israel say, we screwed up. Let's sit down and negotiate honestly, and we figure a way out of this. That's probably not going to happen. This is going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Even if the war ended tomorrow, we've still got a couple of years of problems because of what's already been done. But I don't think we've seen the worst of this yet, which I guess as a YouTube guy, that gives me material, but this is not really what I want to be doing right now. Anyways, from the Board Bunker, you guys have yourselves a great day. Be kind to each other. Reach out and help out in the community. And remember that everybody's freaking out about this stuff too, all around you. Canada will get through this. The world will get through this. But it's going to be spicy. Anyways, you have yourself a good day. Have a good Tuesday. And talk to you tomorrow. You have Borg out.